second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay? It's not like Google and Facebook. It's not like Apple and Amazon. Yeah, we can debate Apple or Amazon. What's better? They both look like tech monopolies to me. They both look pretty good. On the other end, Bitcoin or no, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's crypto asset. This entire idea of like 60% dominance is bullshit, ridiculous, stupid, right? Like, it's stupid. It's not 60% dominant. It's like 96% or 95% dominant, right? The thing isn't even carried as a crypto asset to a like kind of proof of work crypto network, right?
I know that you can feel the pulse, and this crypto's what you want. Look, fast to have in 6 to 12 months, can you imagine? That's just a sign of our passion to have PulseBitcoin be the attraction to switch to crypto. Cause you all know the Pulse got your back from the get-go. One-to-one versions of the coin you need. PulseBitcoin runs that deep. You can feel the pulse. You can feel the pulse. I know that you can feel the pulse. 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 I know that you can feel the pulse. And this crypto's what you want. I know it seems scary, and you've been so wary. And Bitcoin ain't cheap, but let the pulse speak. Gotta thank Gunther for the opportunity to bring you this pulse in your time of need. You can feel the pulse. You can feel the pulse. I know that you can feel.
Yeah, and we're live. Welcome to the first Pulse Bitcoin meetup. We're in Tampa, Florida, and Tim Benjamin has turned up with the Hex-mobile, with the Pulse Chain-mobile, with the 5.5 Maximus, whatever that one is. But most importantly, we have Reggie. We've got Reggie right there, and the Pulse Doge. How you feeling, ladies? How you feeling? You ready for this? Here we go. How's it going, guys?
All right, we're here.
Let's go. We got Navin. Dick and Balls in the house. Let's go, guys. Life is good. How's it going, bro? Good, sir. Good to see you, man. You feeling good about your ASIC mining? Hojo's in the house. And Mr. Jigs. Mr. Jigs is in the house. Pepe, how's it going, buddy? We're going to sit you down here and have a little chat. First live stream, live from Tampa. How's it going, guys? So we got 17 people in the chat. Okay, 17 people. Pulse flag in the background there. We had a bit of trouble with that. How's it going, guys?
Fantastic. We're doing a poolside chat, Pepe and the Wolverine. And so I want to start with something that's near and dear to my heart, and I'd like to get your input. And what it has to do with is store value and how PulseBitcoin is such a misunderstood asset. And it seems to me that there's no other crypto that is close to being a superlative store of value, such as PulseBitcoin. Honestly, the nearest thing to it is Bitcoin.
Is that a wild Mr. Jigs in the background? I think that's a wild Mr. Jigs. Oh my God, I didn't know he really existed. Mr. Jigs. Are you out looking for that Pulse Doge? You can't find any. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that.
What I wanted to get you to weigh in on is the following. It seems to me that worrying about the daily short-term price movements is not appropriate for a long-term store of value. If in fact we have the greatest store of value that crypto has ever seen, we've removed all the negative externalities of Bitcoin and of ASIC, and we have virtualized that, then it seems to me that we shouldn't be looking at a 5x or a 10x or a 100x or even a 1000x. And here's my thinking. If you take a look at store of value, let's take bonds. That's 100 trillion worldwide store of value market. And no one wants to buy bonds. The returns are low, inflation is high, and you're basically locking yourself into losing money. But why do people do it? Because their broker says to diversify. I say it's diversifying out of something better into something worse. What are your thoughts?
I think there's a huge market to tap into. I mean, what's the bond market?
About 100 trillion.
$100 trillion, and it's like 10x the gold market, no?
Well, gold is about 11 to 12 trillion, but only half of that is actually store of value. The other half is ornamental.
Yeah.
So, but that's another store of value, and we know that Wall Street has been pushing Bitcoin 2.0 for Bitcoin, or gold 2.0 for Bitcoin. And I think that's missing the whole point. The point is that's a $5 trillion market. Now, how much of that can we get? We need to attract investors that understand store of value. And so what percentage of a $5 trillion market can we get? We've got $5 trillion with gold. We've got $100 trillion with bonds. We've got $280 trillion with real estate. We've got stock market of $200 trillion. And we have none of their negative externalities. I'm a big investor with Tesla. We don't have to worry about whether or not Elon Musk is making the correct decisions, or Tim Cook is guiding Apple properly. What negative externalities do we actually have with PulseBitcoin?
Yeah. No, it's actually a good point. The only negative externality might be like gas fees.
Gas fees, and that's de minimis.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're mining PulseBitcoin with ASIC token, you're essentially running a business with no overhead cost. So you have zero overhead costs. You don't have the cost of employees or for running a facility or maintenance or anything like that. You don't have mining hardware. You don't have any of that. You have just regular business. So to me, this is actually a genius way to everyone could be like their own like business owner. You literally just buy ASIC token, you start mining PulseBitcoin, or if you don't want to, it takes a while to actually mine PulseBitcoin into existence. I think because the prices are so attractive, you might actually just hit the buy button, buy PulseBitcoin and hold it, and lock it up in NFTs like a locked ladder.
Which is what you've done.
Yeah, I think that's really, really smart. Even with, while all these breadcrumbers are dumping so much PulseBitcoin on the market, there are some whales that are dumping as well, but just very few and far between. But while they're dumping, I've locked 291,000 PulseBitcoin for anywhere between 1,000 and 10,000 days. If that doesn't show faith in the ecosystem, I don't know what does. Like that money, I cannot possibly even access that money until those days are fully matured.
So let's talk about store of value. I collect wine. I collect cigars. And it occurs to me that my wine that I've been recommended by sommeliers and so forth can turn into vinegar if I don't store it properly at the right temperature. Same thing with cigars. If I don't have the right humidity, my cigar collection goes to shit. And it's not that I want cigars, it's that cigars are a store of value.
Yeah.
And I know that if I pay $10 for a stick today, in 5 years, that's going to be $30. And that to me is a good investment. And I think that PulseBitcoin is a better store of value that has a total addressable market of trillions of dollars. And I think we're underselling it. We should sit there and say, how do we attack the store of value markets? Because if I hear one more time that, PulseBitcoin doesn't have a staking mechanic, so what? Bitcoin never had a staking mechanic, and it went from 1 cent to what?
It went from sub 1 penny to 69,000.
69,000.
What price did it launch at, guys? Do Do you remember that? What's
About a
price?
penny.
About a penny, and
Plus or
it
minus.
had a big retrace, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the over-the-counter trades were far below a penny, like a hundredth of a penny or a thousandth of a penny.
Yeah.
So the real, but even if you just went from a penny up to 69,000, you're talking about a return of like 6.9 million X, not percentage, but X. So $1 investment is $6.9 million, and they didn't have any type of locking mechanism. Like we have Pulse Bitcoin lock, we have Bitcoin on Ethereum. You could lock up your Pulse Bitcoins, and you could lock it up for 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years.
Let's make some content for people that may be new to this ecosystem. So we understand what Bitcoin is, right? Well, maybe talk about what made Bitcoin so special about the locked 21 million, and how a Bitcoin on the Ethereum network, and a lot of us think that the Ethereum will maybe outperform
It has
Bitcoin.
more use.
Yeah, it has use. So why not take the name of Bitcoin and participate in the Ethereum network, which we know is going to do really well. Some are saying it will outperform. Well, we know it's going to outperform Bitcoin in X's in the next bull run. So let's talk about that. Just having a Bitcoin on the Ethereum network, and obviously we have Pulse Chain in the background here. We're big proponents of.
But see, I think if you're doing that, you're also underselling Pulse Bitcoin again from a store of value perspective, which is what all of us are discounting, saying, "Oh, we need a staking mechanic. Oh, God will save us. Buy." No, look. Here's the bottom line. All right, Ethereum is what a market cap of 150 million, something like that, 200 million. What's Bitcoin? 400 million. Why should we stop there when we're talking about a TAM, a total addressable market of $100 quadrillion? That's store of value. That's what we should be going after. I don't want to buy 1,000 bottles of wine, but why do I buy the wine? Because I know if I sit on it and hold it, it will go up, which is what Pulse Bitcoin is ideally designed to do. Isn't that the case?
And with ASICs, you don't have to worry about things rotting. Like wine could go bad, or or cigars or whatever. But you don't have any of these like overhead costs or any of these like negative externalities. You literally just buy the token and hold it. The only thing you have to really be concerned with is actually security, having good offset, and having your ASIC token secure. But your ASIC tokens are the best employees in this universe. They're the best employees. They literally do all the work. You literally hit a button that says start miner, you wait 30 days and hit a button that says end miner, and now you have money that shows up in your wallet before Pulse Bitcoin. And how much ASICs are you losing? You're losing 1/4 of 1% during halving 0, and then during halving 1 it gets cut in half, halving 2 gets cut in half again, and then it goes through all the halving cycles, and that fee just basically goes to 0. So, yeah, I mean...
Well, let's talk about another store of value sector, art. The rich always buy art, right? Why do they buy art? Is it because they love the paintings? Oh, I love Rousseau. I love Monet. I love Da Vinci. No, bullshit. They're buying it because they think the number's going to go up. Now, some douchebag with a gavel is going to have to be involved, the middleman, when you choose to liquidate that painting. We don't have any of those negative externalities with Pulse Bitcoin. When it's your magic time to sell, you're on your hardware wallet and you're pressing.
Well, let's talk about that. Why did people first buy Bitcoin? Why did people? I'll ask you both that question. Why were people first attracted to Bitcoin, and why is this? And why is this Bitcoin bringing it back to basics?
I'll tell you why. Because Gunther and I could be sitting in Istanbul on a Sunday afternoon, and we could send $1 million from our hardware wallets to someone in France, and no government can stop us. And that's that whole gold 2.0 thing. We don't have to have Mossad crabs protecting our shipment of physical gold going across borders and worrying about, being machine gunned to death. Yeah. We just send the money. So it's censorship resistance. Remember, in 2008, 2009, the real estate market had tanked, which is another store of value, right? People were losing their ass. So they flocked into Bitcoin because it was a superior store of value, and we're more superior than Bitcoin, and not by a little bit. We don't have any of that negative externality.
You're not buying a giant facility and spending $15,000 for an ASIC miner. For just one ASIC miner, think about how much they spend.
So Wolverine, paint a picture of some of our new on boards, right? Let's say they're friends of mining coins, right? They're buying a bit of hardware. They're spending thousands of bucks buying a bit of hardware, and they're starting to mine tokens, right? Let's just break that down. Of what is an ASIC miner? What are we doing with software mining? Let's break that down.
It's actually super simple. You just buy ASIC token on the Ethereum network. You can buy it at USDC-ASIC.com. It reroutes you to CalSwap, so you get the best execution price. You don't really need slippage. And when you buy ASIC, what happens is when you hit the start miner function, when you hit the start miner button on the website.
So that's on PulseBitcoin.com.
Yeah,
So
PulseBitcoin.com.
you buy your ASIC, you go to what's it again?
Well, it's actually PulseBitcoin.app. But you can go to PulseBitcoin.com.
You buy your ASIC first, right?
Yeah, buy your ASIC and then go to PulseBitcoin.app. And make sure you check the spelling of that URL, because there are sites that are malicious where it's a phishing attack. But make sure you check the URL. But you go to that site and you just literally start the miner. And when you start the miner, what happens is, from a technical point of view, your ASIC tokens are sent to an Ethereum null address. They're actually burned up out of existence.
Let's keep this simple. I've just gone on and I bought 1,000 ASIC.
Yeah.
So I might buy them off Uniswap. But we recommend you go to what's the URL again? It's
USDC-ASIC.com.
And that will take you to
CalSwap,
which we like because it gives you protection from some MEV bots, so you'll get a better value. So you go there, you buy your ASIC tokens, and then you want to go onto PulseBitcoin.com. And in the top right, you'll see a thing called Mine. So what does that mean when you click that Mine button, Pepe?
So the mining function is a virtualized software version of the ASIC hardware miner. Only you can do it from the convenience of your laptop. And we have a 30-day interval where you inject your ASIC into the mines.
So you get your 1,000 ASIC tokens.
Yeah, so for 1,000 ASIC tokens, after 30 days, you can then withdraw them from the mines with the amount of...
So it sounds like a staking mechanism, right?
Well, it's similar to staking. The difference is that the best known staking platforms tend to inflate the underlying asset.
Yes.
And that's a big problem because the buy pressure doesn't exceed the headwind of the inflation, then number isn't going to go up.
Yeah. So you get
it's not staking because when you lock ASIC for 30 days, you don't get more ASIC.
Exactly.
You get a brand new asset.
So it's utilizing Ethereum 2.0, right? But it's still kind of imitating the proof of work. So it's taking the best of both. Am I correct in saying that? It's taking the best of both worlds. So we're mimicking proof of work, but utilizing the new technology of proof of stake.
Look, we've got 25 pages of improvements on ASIC and Bitcoin. 25 pages. Go to PulseBitcoin.com, read the white paper, and it will tell you everything you need to know. 25 pages of improvements. And Bitcoin is supposedly the hardest currency on the planet. Well, it's now been disrupted innovatively with PulseBitcoin, with a virtual method of mining where you're not choking poor Mother Nature out, right, through the burning of electricity. Basically, when you mine for Bitcoin, you're digging a hole, you get down to the bottom, you fill the hole back in. Congratulations. What work have you actually done? Because you haven't protected the network, but you have provided proof of work. So we think proof of stake is better.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get some refreshments. We're going to play a little advert here, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Well, 3 minutes.
There you go.
Newest build. $982 watts. Got these custom rigs being built at 240, 232 mega hash.
So 29 and change.
Got a lot more to go.
Yo.
See, as you can see, we're putting more together here. Here I am in 2018 setting up crypto mining facilities. I'm sure our clients make great profit if they held their coins. Fast forward a few years, Bitcoin mining is simply not profitable to continue. Over time, the difficulty increases. It's a huge waste of resources. Energy costs increase. It requires massive overhead with upkeep, and it's harmful to our environment. A much needed innovation has emerged, and it's called PulseBitcoin. It's faster, has a limited supply of 21 million coins, has better price appreciation, and it's DeFi compatible with Ethereum. It's proof of stake ASIC token mining that anyone can do from their phone or computer. A user can simply stake their ASIC tokens with just a few clicks of a mouse at pulsebitcoin.app. Stake your ASIC tokens for 30 days to yield PulseBitcoin. Unstake to claim your PLSB. You can then restake your ASIC to start another 30-day cycle. You can buy PulseBitcoin and ASIC using DeFi at CowSwap or your favorite DEX. Why is PulseBitcoin a true DeFi asset? Fair launch. Absolutely no special supply allocation. Supply begins at 0 and only becomes available 30 days after launch, if participants start mining day 1. It's 100% transparent, open source smart contract. It has a code security audit completed by Certic. No unfair distribution. All PulseBitcoin must be mined fairly, defined by the smart contract. No sacrifice phase or ICO. No venture capital or special insider funding taken or received. No purchase tax, sell tax, reflection fees, referral program, or hidden penalties. It is not meant to be a financial security in any capacity. You must have no expectations of monetary gain or profit from this crypto project. If you do, it is by your own work and effort. PulseBitcoin has the fastest growing community as it leads the industry in adoption and support, teaching new users about security and providing the fundamentals for being a successful investor. PulseBitcoin will be the DeFi project of 2023. Follow host Sean on TikTok and Twitter for updates.
And we're live, we're back. So Pepe's disappeared to go get another drink. And who's this sitting here?
Hello, everyone. This is Tim Benjamin. I am here in Miami, and I'm here with my good friend Gunther. We met up previously when I was back east, and thought I'd take a seat with him here now and join on the live stream. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Good to see you again.
You were early Bitcoin miner, right?
Not a miner, but an early Bitcoin holder and enthusiast. Yes.
Oh, okay. What time frame or what price point for Bitcoin?
I don't remember the price, but it was November of 2011.
Okay, so early.
So
yeah.
Early.
I actually, that's one thing about Bitcoin that I think about. Like I missed that whole opportunity. Like I can remember back in the day, like my brother was telling me about Bitcoin. I'm like, kind of like being dismissive about it. And I feel like, maybe some of the audience might have the same perspective towards like PulseBitcoin. It's like instantly dismiss it. Sure. Don't think much about it. They're like, oh, it's just a copy of Bitcoin. Oh, it's just not Ethereum. Oh, no big deal. Look at the price chart. Everyone's just selling it down. They don't really see the value proposition.
Well, people don't see value proposition because they don't have a value proposition of their own that they can apply to an asset. And that's what I saw with Bitcoin at the beginning in 2011, is I saw this disruptive potential. And to me, that's where the value was. I didn't even know how to read a price chart. I didn't even care. To me, what I saw was that we now have a system of money that is now a product of the free market. And the potential that had is what drew my interest in the asset, wanting to know how it works, wanting to know how to apply it to different areas, how it can be used to accomplish different things. That's what kept me into it, and that's what allowed me to develop the kind of diamond hand, you could say, to want to hold on to it regardless of what the price was. I figured if I had enough of it and I could live off of it one day, that's great, but there were so many other bigger things that I would like to see happen with it that were just bigger than my own interests that made the price relative. And I feel the same way about PulseBitcoin right now. The price is totally relative.
So Tim, sorry, it's about Sammy.
Go ahead.
you got into Hex early, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I got in Hex on day one.
So do you see any similarities between what's going on over here with this ecosystem and Hex?
What, between?
Well, you must have had a lot of things come across your desk, a lot of opportunities, right? What made you kind of come out here? We appreciate you coming. What made you come out here and kind of stick your flag in the ground and kind of say, I think this is good. This is a good product.
As far as the asset, or just coming into this meeting?
Well, look, in the asset, what made you kind of choose this asset to put your name behind almost?
Well, the guy who invented it, HexInfo, he first invented Pulse Dogecoin, and that was available to be minted for free to Hex stakers based on their T-shares. And I read the website and I saw that it was a scarce asset, and I thought, hey, let me check this out. So I minted my Pulse Doge, and just the more I paid attention to the Telegram room and the price chart, the more interested I got in it. And the ASIC tokens were available to be acquired by transforming the Pulse Doge, which is how I got most of mine at first. So it was basically given to me for free, and I'm not prejudiced against free money, especially free money that's invented by someone who shows respects to assets that I care a lot about. Hex, for example. By making Pulse Doge available to Hex stakers exclusively, that's paying respects to the Hex protocol, and not only that, but then making coins available to the origin.
Well, someone put it out to me, right? If you were a Hex Dolphin, right, you were given something like 750 Pulse Doge for free, right?
Correct.
If you had transformed them at the height of the market, you would essentially have $70,000 worth of cryptocurrency. You would have had essentially, at the time when we did the calculation, you would have been given essentially a free Bitcoin. That's how much value you're given. So all the hate, I'm sorry, guys. There's no sacrifice here. There's no expectation of something coming out that you paid for. This is for free, and you can now enter the ASIC market at the price that we got in. You're looking at $1 and 7.5% paid for 30 days. You're not looking up for 15 years. You're not looking up for 10 years. But Hex is a great product, and we love that. We're not trying to throw any shade on Hex.
Hey, that's actually a strong value proposition for ASIC. The fact that it's liquid every 30 days. So if you wanted to in the future exit your position, you don't have to wait 5 days. You could actually, you could liquidate your position at day 30. When your miner ends, you have your ASIC tokens liquid. If you don't want to mine anymore, you can just sell it to anyone else that's willing to buy it on the open market. So I think that's a strong value proposition for ASIC itself. That ASIC not only mines PulseBitcoin, but it's more liquid, like every 30 days, and ASIC could potentially mine other things in the future.
Apparently, we're getting a bit of background noise, so if you guys don't mind talking a bit louder, sorry about that.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I can talk really loud.
Everyone's enjoying the food back
there. We're gonna. My battery's getting really low, so what we'll probably go on hold for about 10 minutes. Stick around, and we'll probably come back. So, is there anything you guys want to finish with before we come back?
If you need to charge, go ahead.
Take a break. We're going to enjoy some food, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
All right, guys, let me try and get that going. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Just stick with us. I'm going to put some holding music on here, if I can try and get this going. Here we go.
Thank God, Matt Sammy has relieved them. What is all finishing coming? It's something.
Hey, food, comida.
Yeah, sorry about this, guys. Getting a bit of technical issues here. I'm trying to figure out how to put a backdrop here. We're live right now. I'm just trying to figure out how to do a backdrop. Sorry, guys. Technical issues. This is amateur hour. Yeah, what's everyone saying in the comments anyway?
Eat a piece of chicken.
Get some food.
First shot that I had never held in my life. Disintegrated.
Well, his hand-eye coordination is excellent. You wouldn't think it for a scabbard old lad, but at some point in life you had excellence. You maintained it. In this group, if you're not a professional trash talker, you're out. All right. We don't have hurt feelings.
No idea.
So lucky.
Yes. Yes.
One of the maintenance guys.
I see this Lincoln Parkway.
Before you go live, can I get a picture?
We are live. I'm trying to get the background thing. It's not working.
Still anything?
But you can go in front of the camera. It's no big deal.
No, that's okay. Anything else?
This is the story of a collapsing financial ecosystem and an innovative technology that offers the world a solution. The year is 2008. Overleveraged banks became insolvent, causing the housing market to collapse, sparking a horrible recession. In response to this, an anonymous figurehead by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto gifted the world with a novel technology called Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the world's first attempt at a decentralized peer-to-peer payment network, which would be validated on what is known as a blockchain. This technology sparked creation, and other altcoins were born, like Ethereum, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. These blockchains all used a proof-of-work consensus mechanism, which consumes large amounts of energy and is bad for the environment. Genius visionary and founder Richard Hart is solving this negative externality with PulseChain, a faster, more efficient, environmentally friendly fork of Ethereum with lower gas fees that will usher in a new era for cryptocurrency. Now back to our story. We fast forward to the great bull run of 2021. Bitcoin hits an all-time high of $69,000. The market is full of euphoria. But behind the scenes, centralized exchanges and lending organizations overleveraged themselves just like the banks in 2008. 2022, the market crashes. Companies like Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, FTX, and BlockFi file for bankruptcy. Users lose billions. So if centralized exchanges cannot be trusted, what other choice do we have to earn yield on our investments? Well, with well-written and audited smart contracts, users can earn trustless yield simply by interacting with the code and the blockchain. Another genius founder, HexInfo, created Pulse Dogecoin, a hyper-deflationary, decentralized king of meme coins. Pulse Dogecoin rose from the ashes, and during a brutal, bloody bear market, hit an all-time high, increasing its value over 1,000%. HexInfo then envisioned a better Bitcoin where users could mine the new coin using an innovative token called ASIC. For a limited time on PulseBitcoin.com, users can transform one Pulse Dogecoin into 5 ASIC tokens, or you can simply purchase ASIC on your favorite DEX like CowSwap or Uniswap. That ASIC can then be staked inside a smart contract for 30-day increments to mine Pulse Bitcoin. The current reward for mining is 7.5% per month, which equates to 90% APY. This mined Pulse Bitcoin can then be stored in a hardware wallet and held for the creation of generational wealth. Don't miss out. I hope you all liked my video. Follow me on Twitter at PulseDoctor369 and follow HexInfo and Wolverine2241 for community updates.
Just started getting eco building. One who got me on the Telegram was trying to get me to start a group up for locals like in the Bay Area and East Tennessee. So I just got one set up, and I don't really have done anything with it, but I'm hoping to get it moving. Like before, like PulseChain, HexChain, PulseBitcoin, anybody in the area, you know,
Sorry about the technical issues, guys. Usually I run this setup from my computer, so I kind of have everything laid out. Because we're here on the fly in Tampa, I've kind of got everything kind of half-assed on my phone. So I really apologise about the sound issues. We're just getting used to this. I apologise about some of that waiting you guys had to do. By the way, we've only got 20 live viewers right here. Last week we had 90, but try and send this out, try and share it. But obviously, we'll get a lot of views on this on the repeat. So we're back here with Life is Good, one of our key long-term players here. Pepe?
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is ask one of my onboards, Life is Good, about what his experience was.
Bit louder, Pepe, bit louder. Sorry, bit louder.
Okay.
Sorry, so it's hard because we got a lot of wind here, guys.
I will use my public voice. So I'd like to get your feedback on what the onboarding process was, because we all had a similar background. We were all looking for things like yield and yield platforms. And I came to you with a dog token. And at that point in time, I think I may have mentioned multiple times that what we really have here is the greatest meme token ever invented, because all the negative externalities of Doge were eliminated, eviscerated. And I thought that served as a very good platform for future growth. And then perhaps we hinted back and forth that there could be a staking mechanic for that Pulse Doge coin. Could you take me through that?
So, do you remember what I said the first time?
No.
Nice and loud. Nice and
Pepe
loud,
talked
Frank.
about a meme coin, and I stated flatly I'm not into meme coins at all. And he said, well, let me tell you something, lad. When people look at Google, one of the top items that people search for on Google relative to cryptocurrency is what?
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin, number one. So he kind of hooked me right there, and through a little bit of back and forth and some convincing, I suddenly saw the light. I didn't really understand the later on staking part or how it would happen, but ultimately, PulseBitcoin sprang from the meme coin, Pulse Dogecoin, and it's been a blessing ever since.
So one of the things that we had hoped that would occur with ASIC and PulseBitcoin is that it would represent innovation. Some of the better known staking platforms that are out there inflate their supply, which is a headwind. And it seems as if HexInfo, the genius dev founder of Pulse Dogecoin, ASIC, and PulseBitcoin, has figured out a way to eliminate inflation. Could you talk about that?
Well, ultimately, as the new PulseBitcoin is mined, the miner, the ASIC, is taken away a very small amount of time, 0.25% of your mining group of ASIC, and ultimately that is deflating the total amount of ASIC. Bitcoin has a limit of all that can ever be produced, and yet is also deflationary, unfortunately, through people that miss their miners being taken out. We have two very strong deflationary.
As I look at the landscape of our ecosystem, I've often referred to it as a multi-token synergistic ecosystem, which contains disruptive innovation. And the disruptive innovation that I see is along the lines of when the automobile surpassed the horse and buggy. It was just a better deal. Everyone knew it was a better deal, and they flocked to it. And Henry Ford was just a great manufacturer of our time. Another bit of disruptive innovation would have been with, let's say, email surpassing the post office. The elegance of email would save you time and money and mailing, stamp expense, and so forth. Another innovation was when I had invested in Blockbuster, along came Netflix, and instead of having to drive to a store to rent a video, I could have it mailed. Well, I could have it mailed to my mailbox, and then they ultimately disrupted their own business model and then streamed it. And so the disruptive innovation with ASIC and PulseBitcoin is very similar in that other staking platforms inflate, and that causes a headwind. So in order for the number to go up, you actually have to have buy pressure that exceeds the inflation. And we don't have that negative externality, do we?
No, not at all. And then on that disruptive innovation, the comparison of the original Bitcoin, which in many of my tweets I've talked about it being a Model T, tried and true, great for its time, but that's 13, 14-year-old technology. What are some of the differences between the original Bitcoin and the current Pulse?
Good point. So you basically have to have a data center of ASIC hardware mining rigs, which means you've got a IT support staff, you've got a warehouse, you've got overheads out the yin and the yang, and the least of which is not choking poor Mother Nature out with burning electricity. We don't have any of those negative externalities. So as I take a look at Bitcoin as a great store of value relative to gold, stocks, bonds, real estate, wine, cigars, I mean, you name it, we've got a better Bitcoin. And so we actually have no overheads associated with our mining efforts. And
a laptop.
Well, yeah, and everyone has a laptop. Or you can use a desktop. So we don't have employees. We don't have licenses. Please, calm down. Thank you. We don't have employees. We don't have any licenses. We don't have any insurances. We don't have any of the overheads associated with it. And most of all,
Wolverine, keep it down, bro. Keep it down. Right?
I'm trying. I'm not going to attempt. He's allowed.
Keep it down, guys. All right.
All right.
We're trying to do an interview over here. We're trying to talk about Bitcoin.
And best of all, we're not inflating. And so, what do you think is going to happen when Happening Event 0 occurs and our mining of the 10,500,000 Pulse Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden the yield rate gets cut in half?
I think that ultimately, if not immediately, the price of Pulse Bitcoin will increase drastically, possibly. It would be like attempting to open up an entire new mining center to mine the same amount of the original Bitcoin. And nobody can do that, but we can buy more ASIC to mine more Pulse Bitcoin. But if suddenly it costs twice as much to get it out, it's going to change the price.
Yeah. So let's talk about how this mining effort works. So you get your hands on some ASIC, you inject them into the mines.
How do you inject them into mines? Because people might be tuning in now.
Well, you go to pulsebitcoin.app and you click on mine. It's dead dog simple.
Unbelievably simple.
So then at the moment, you click mine.
Yeah.
You'll connect to your MetaMask, and then you kind of approve those transactions. And essentially, you're giving those tokens to the contractor.
Yeah.
So, and then for 30 days, you won't have access to those tokens.
Yeah, but let's talk about that 30-day period. The APY turns out to be 90% APY. There's no other staking mechanic that pays that out. None. And then when the inflation rate does get cut in half and you're getting paid 45% APY, that's still better than the best known staking platforms that are out there. It's not even close. So we've got a decentralized platform where you don't have to have any middlemen. You have zero overheads other than paying some Ethereum fees, which we're not being clobbered with S-load function costs.
What is S-load function cost?
So that is literally calculating what the stake length is on a daily basis. And that's a hard drive read. And every time you ping that hard drive, that costs you money. So it's anticipated that other staking platforms that you can go out a decade or longer with, it'll cost you a whole Ethereum or more to end that stake. And we don't have that negative externality. We have a 30-day calculation, which is the same for everybody.
And the other thing, right, you're not getting paid in the same token. You're getting paid in another token.
which is also limited in its supply.
Yeah, so you've got a deflationary asset, underlying asset, that's paying out yield in another deflationary asset, and they're both joined at the hip to drive price appreciation. And so here's what we know about Bitcoin. Every 4 years, or 210,000 blocks, there's a halvening event. And that halvening event ushers in 3 times in a row right now, 12 years running. It ushers in the bull market. So the next one is going to be March, April of 2024. And that's when we think that the crypto market will go through a bull cycle. But get this, we've got a 6 to a 12-month halvening cycle with PulseBitcoin. So if what holds to be true, please, thank you. If what holds to be true with Bitcoin holds true with PulseBitcoin, then we should see a halvening event that spurs our own mini bull market, only in a fourth or less of the time.
Yeah, so I think if you go onto Corky's website, I think we've got the next estimated halving coming up in early May. Is that right? Early May.
Right now,
So
it's May 8th.
So you don't
Correct.
have to wait long. So people that are dumping their tokens right now, they're very short-sighted. I can say everyone here at this party, we're holding our PulseBitcoin because we know when you get the supply shock of only half of that supply coming out in mining function, well, look at the traditional Bitcoin chart. What do we think that's going to happen when you half supply in anything? What happened with timber last year? We had 400% increase in timber 2 years ago. About 400%.
I want to be careful with price discussion because price discussion is what leads to trading. Trading leads to lettuce hands, and the lettuce hands leads to number goes down. If it's okay, I would like to pick your brain on the greatest use case that crypto has ever solved, and it's called store of value. And I say store of value from the standpoint of, as a collector of expensive things, I hope like hell that the price goes up. The only thing is if I buy art, I have to have one of those sons of bitches with a gavel to liquidate my art. And then I have to have an expert tell me which art to buy. I'm not buying it because I love the art. I'm buying it because I think the price is going to go up, which is the same reason why you buy any store of value. You think that it's a hedge against inflation, and we've already talked about 90% APY. My personal inflation rate is 23%. So if an asset doesn't return 23%, I'm dying slowly. It's got to pay more than 23%. And so right now, buy ASIC, mine for PulseBitcoin, hold, onboard, and let's talk about onboarding a little bit. And then you're just going to get wealthy off of this. So last night, when we were all in a bar together, an authentic German pub. Hey, gents, can you keep it down for a second? We're recording. I'm sorry. Thank you. So there was a bit of an onboarding process going on. I noticed that the bartender was smitten with cops, and he was talking to her, and then she was talking to him about PulseBitcoin. And I think you were there at that point in time. And then when Sammy and I came back in, because we were enjoying cigars outside, when Sammy and I came back in, I noticed what was going on. And then I noticed that the bartender really got energetic when Sammy showed up. So I was a little bit confused there. I thought that he was smitten with cops, but it appeared that he was smitten with him. And so I then quickly got into a discussion about CAGR, compound annual growth rate. And if we were to take a look at the compound annual growth rate of a store of value, it is the reason why you should buy an asset, because the number's going to go up. And so the numbers that we calculated for the bartender were, if he put $400 a month in for 10 years, started with $1,000, he'd have 1.4 million. So let's not talk about what the price chart is doing. Let's talk about the thing that only matters, which is accumulate. It's the number of tokens in your bag. Wouldn't you agree in a bear market? The only number that matters is the number of tokens in your bag.
Goods here with Pepe. You've come from California. Successful business numbers. We're so happy to have you here.
Good to be here.
And he's holding his bags. He sees the long-term play.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to have to cut this stream short, guys. We'll maybe come back later. Unfortunately, the battery's about to die, and I've had to plug in this microphone. I think it's quiet enough now. The wind stopped, so I might have to plug in the charger. But we might abruptly end soon because the battery's about to run out. But you talk loudly.
Well, tell us why you're in this ecosystem.
I'm in the ecosystem mainly because of Pepe's recommendation, but what really hooked me was reading the white paper. And hopefully everyone here that's involved in the project has read the white paper and has read it again and read it again.
Oh, it's a good one too. It's so digestible and easy to read.
It is. It's entertaining, and it's 10 pages longer than the original Bitcoin white paper, and there's real value in understanding the process of gaining and holding and ultimately getting the, what I call interest, Pepe calls it yield, the tremendous amount of interest off that PulseBitcoin that you get.
Well, I call it yield because of riba, right? In the Islamic countries, riba is banned by the Quran. So,
but anyone that has ever looked at this project, and I've had a couple big players in crypto poo-poo it just a little bit, but once anyone reads the white paper, it is crystal clear that ultimately it was written by a genius, and he has taken out all the negativity, all the aspects that outran the original Bitcoin. And I'll say it again, I refer to Bitcoin as the tried and true Model T that originally started the entire automotive industry, of which I'm in, but ultimately Model T doesn't exist anymore except as a collector item in some people's garages. And if there's that many improvements in 13, 14 years in technology relative to televisions and cell phones and anything that we operate with every day, microwaves have changed in 13 years. Imagine the technology that is still driving Bitcoin and what could be done now. Well, that has been done in the new PulseBitcoin. And we're all happy here to be a project in that project, and you all should read that white paper and jump in. You should be involved in this project.
Yeah, I think we're about to take a break, guys. Everyone's here for a party. Thank you so much for turning up. We'll be live streaming tomorrow. I might pop on later. We'll see what's going on. But thank you so much for tuning in. Pepe, any closing words? Any closing words? Life is good.
Read the white paper.
Read the white paper.
Again and again.
buy, mine, hold. You'll get fabulously wealthy, and onboard like-minded individuals that want to create life-changing wealth.
And I think I just want to quickly introduce really briefly Navin, one of our whales. Navin's been really active in introducing part of the indie community. So I'm not sure how long the batteries are. Navin?
It's an honor.
Thank you.
How you doing, Navin?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Do you want to give your quick story of how you got into this ecosystem and why you're passionate about it and what's going on with the India thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been into crypto since 2017. Got into the raw crypto and got wrecked over the years. And then got serious.
Sorry, you have to speak loud. I haven't got the microphone plugged in.
Got serious about.
We got a bit of wind here. I'm really sorry about the microphone situation, guys. So
I got serious about crypto in 2021. And after I got retired or resigned from the UN in 2022, end of 2022, sorry, 2021, I started into what you call crypto. And basically, I got into Hex primarily. Then after that, because of my staking in Hex, I got this free Pulse Dogecoin. And that's how my Dogecoin, Pulse Dogecoin and ASIC and PulseBitcoin journey started. After I got in there, I seriously looked into the project and also looked around the people who are involved in the project. And I believed it firmly, because of which I really wanted the project to do well, and also wanted to onboard people, as many people as possible. So
it is my idea that I suggested to my friends, especially Gandhar, who has tried his thing. Who is giving his 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin to onboard India. So, I mean, when somebody like can give 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin from his personal wallet, it is my responsibility towards the community because
yeah. So
I have the proximity.
let's talk about that. So, Wolverine, your friend, do you want to talk about the India giveaway and do you want to talk about the India community actually because they played a big part. We say this is the first Pulse Bitcoin meetup, but actually the guys in India have actually front-runned us, haven't they? They've actually already done a meetup, haven't they? Yeah, do you want to talk about that a little bit about Wolverine's India giveaway and
Yes.
and why that's important? Because we don't want this to be just a wealthy white man's game.
Yeah, the India. I mean, the first Pulse Bitcoin onboarding was triggered by me after a visit in India. I called this guy, Mr. Soni, and other guys to visit me in Delhi, and we started talking about strategizing how we can onboard as many people in India as possible. So again, with the guidance from Wolverine, we wanted to show some videos onboarding people in India, and these people have been thoroughly motivated. They understand the value of Pulse Bitcoin, so they started doing this onboarding of people. Right now, we are doing it on a kind of a weekly basis, onboarding as many people as possible. And still, as we approach the 90 days period of giveaway in India, we are actively involved in onboarding people. That is on the smaller scale. Myself personally, I'm into the what you call Indian military friends who are retired and who have a lot of money sitting on the sideline. They are not knowing what to do, where to put the money. So they are the guys whom I'm trying to target, and I'm sure in the coming days they are going to be coming into the live stream.
And I think from my research, India is one of the countries that has one of the highest participation in crypto in general. But what I understand is that's more transactional crypto, or that's used for a utility. Do you know anything about that?
It is not a utility because the adoption from the government perspective is slow. There are still hurdles and obstacles from the government side, not from the individual side. So it is not on the utility, but individual who are trying to achieve financial freedom, and they understand the value of crypto, especially Pulse Bitcoin, because they understood what would have been the value of mining Bitcoin in 2011. So they think that this is the opportunity to get in early and mine as much as Pulse Bitcoin as possible, so that they can achieve financial freedom.
Lavin, thank you so much for being here. I'd like to say in the comments, we've got Sigma Stray, we've got Pierre Grayson, we've got some of our Indian community there, and we'd just like to thank you personally, because you guys are really making a big effort out there. You're a beachhead in Staying Port, because we don't want this ecosystem came from tech stack. A lot of money came from this. A lot of sharks and whales are involved in the ecosystem because they're already involved. But we really want Pulse Bitcoin to be something that everyone can use. We don't want to market it just to the rich. We want to market it to the average user.